Order, roll call.
Janelle Nelson, Naker, Prince, Tao, Tobert, Council President Bren Moen, 6 present, no one absent.
Please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Consent agenda items 1 through 18 are before you for your consideration.
Is there anything that needs to be taken separately from the consent agenda? Seeing none, Mr. Tao moves the consent agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion prevails.
6 in favor, no one opposed. The consent agenda is adopted. Item number 19, Resolution 19-125, recognizing the Tree Advisory Panel for 10 years of service to the City of St. Paul.
Councilmember Prince, welcome.
Yes, it is my great pleasure to welcome forward 4 members of the Tree Advisory Panel. 4 recent members. The panel's been in existence for 10 years now, and so we have lots of present and former members that we want to recognize. But today we have, and if you could just maybe, this is Lieben McCormick, Rebecca Ketter, Brenda Danner, and Christine Suter. And I will read the resolution, and then the panel members have a couple of comments. Whereas the St. Paul Parks and Recreation Department established the Tree Advisory Panel in January 2009 to connect St. Paul forestry with the community, and whereas the panel is made up of St. Paul residents representing each city council ward, city staff, members of the business community, the University of Minnesota, and Friends of the Parks and Trails of St. Paul and Ramsey County, and whereas the Tree Advisory Panel's mission is to serve as a link between the St. Paul forestry and people of St. Paul to preserve, promote, and enhance the urban forest of St. Paul, and whereas the Tree Advisory Panel reviews and advises the St. Paul Forestry Division on its policies, procedures, and operations regarding trees, and assists in setting goals to promote and sustain a healthy and diverse urban forest, helping to develop strategies to address its health, including research and study of emerging threats. And whereas the Tree Advisory Panel has undertaken major activities, including addressing green infrastructure opportunities with light rail, supporting the request for increased forestry funds, advocating for the preservation of St. Paul's mature tree canopy, and whereas the Tree Advisory Panel works with St. Paul Forestry on the Landmark Tree Program to locate, document, and compile a record of remarkable trees within the city of St. Paul, including some that have existed here since long before St. Paul was a city. And whereas the Tree Advisory Panel educates and informs the public about emerald ash borer, something familiar to all of us, advises St. Paul Forestry on strategies for preserving established canopy and lessening effects of tree loss, and encourages the public to become actively involved in the protection of trees in both the public and private domain. Therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of the City of St. Paul extends its deep gratitude to present and past members of the Tree Advisory Panel for the passionate dedication, commitment, knowledge, and expertise they bring to its mission to ensure the beauty, health, and vitality of St. Paul's urban forest.
Thank you. Thank you for this resolution. We especially want to thank Councilwoman Jane Prince for her support and acknowledgement of the Tree Advisory Panel's efforts over the last 10 years. We appreciate your kind accolades and for helping all the past and present members see the value of the Tree Advisory Panel to the city. I also want to thank St. Paul Forestry and Parks and Rec for not only offering a platform for the Tree Advisory Panel to exist within the Tree City USA guidelines, but also for their vital work managing St. Paul's thriving urban forest. Thank you for valuing and caring for St. Paul's amazing green spaces.
As was shared in the resolution, we're a group of 10 volunteer citizens that meet monthly to help blend the bureaucracy of city government with the real-world application of urban forestry through education, outreach to the residents of St. Paul. Our current efforts are now obviously focused on ash trees and the threat of emerald ash borer. We are working to provide ideas and strategies to the residents and the city to soften the harsh reality of widespread boulevard and private tree loss, along with ways to cushion the monetary blow to the city and residents' budgets. To retain the benefits these trees provide to the community, we want to be sure that a portion of the remaining healthy ash population within the city receive regular treatments to protect them from emerald ash borer. We look forward to providing many more years of volunteer service within St. Paul. And again, thank you for this resolution and your continued support of St. Paul's urban forest. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. And we always welcome the opportunity to bring groups like the TAP. We were accidentally saying the TAB earlier, but the Tree Advisory Panel, because the work that you're doing is so incredibly important, and this is a great place to just give it a little louder voice, amplify the work that you're doing. It really came to my attention when you started looking for people to fill vacant board seats a bit ago, and I was like, oh, we have a tree advisory panel, and it's incredible. I don't think any of us, when we originally ran for office, knew how much time we would spend talking to people about trees and how passionate they are about tree removal and tree placement. And it's just something that is incredibly important to people. So the work that you're doing, I think, as you said, kind of buffering between, the bureaucratic world and the reality world of an urban treescape is so important. So it's wonderful to have you here today and to lift up the work that you're doing and share some gratitude towards you. So thank you so much.
And I also want to recognize Emily Mumford, who just arrived. And I'll give you a copy of the resolution for the TAP, and you guys we're happy to make copies. I do also want to mention, because it's very timely, that our local journalist, Jane McClure, has an article in the most recent Villager about the emerald ash borer issue. And it's really quite a wonderful story, and something that the TAP is very interested in, which is some homeowners who are about to lose their ash trees asked the city if it were possible for them to pay for the treatment, which is increasingly less expensive and efficacious, if they could pay for their boulevard trees to be treated. And the city did agree to it. So I think it's a model that we may be able to look at, where people have that ability to assist in treatment of trees that are still salvageable. So I just want to call your attention to this week's Villager, and it's page 5. So thanks to all of you. Any other comments?
We'll make sure the tree advisory panel helps us figure out how to make that an equitable program, so it's not just areas of means that get to keep their trees if they can pay for them on the boulevards. That's your next job. Let's make it official. Ms. Prince moves the resolution. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion prevails.
6 in favor, no one opposed. The resolution is adopted. Item number 20, first reading of ordinance 19-2, granting the application of James Jarman and Sarah Jarman to rezone the property at 541 Selby Avenue for RM2 multifamily residential to BC community business, and amending Chapter 60 of the Legislative Code pertaining to the zoning map. This ordinance is laid over to January 23rd for second reading. Item number 21, first reading of ordinance 19-3, granting the application of Peggy Dahl to rezone property at 1375 Cleveland Avenue North from RM1 low-density multifamily residential to RM2 medium-density multifamily residential, and amending Chapter 60 of the Legislative Code pertaining to the zoning map. This ordinance is laid over to January 23rd for second reading. Item number 22, resolution public hearing 19-15, authorizing the execution of a business subsidy agreement for the Taste of Rondo project.
This is a public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak to this item? Seeing none, Mr. Tao moves to close the public hearing and approve. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion prevails.
6 in favor, no one opposed. The public hearing is closed and the resolution is adopted. Item number 23, resolution public hearing 19-17, giving host approval to the issuance of conduit multifamily housing revenue bonds by the City of Coon Rapids on behalf of Common Bond Communities for the Community Plaza project at 709 Central Avenue. And just to note that this item will need to be continued to Wednesday, January 23rd due to a placement of the agenda issue.
All right, so because we noticed this public hearing, we will hold, this is a public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak to this item? And seeing none, we will hold the matter over till next week where we can continue the public hearing and hear anyone here to testify on that item. All in favor of the layover, or is it just a layover? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion prevails.
6 in favor, no one opposed. The public hearing is continued to January 23rd at 3:30 PM. Suspension item.
Ms. Nelson moves suspension of the rules. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion prevails.
Resolution 19-131, accepting the gift of use of a TR-8 Techno Alpin snow gun for use by the Department of Parks and Recreation at the Como Park Ski Center for the 2018-19 winter season.
Sometimes these things give me the giggles. What is that? In any case, item under suspension, it just was simply an oversight on staff's part.
Yep.
Okay.
I move to approve Resolution 19-131 under suspension.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion prevails.
6 in favor, no one opposed. The resolution is adopted. Legislative hearing consent agenda items 24 through 73 are before you for your consideration.
Ms. Mormon, welcome.
Mr. President Ben Moen, I'm not aware of anyone here to testify on a legislative hearing item.
Great. Okay, so we are hearing now items number 24 to 73. If you are here to speak to any item between 24 and 73, this is a public hearing. Seeing none, Ms. Prince moves to close the public hearing and approve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion prevails.
6 in favor, no one opposed. The public hearing is closed and the consent agenda is adopted as amended.
And with that, we come to news from the wards. Does anyone have anything they'd like to share this afternoon? Ms. Prince?
I have two things. Tonight, now that we don't have our public hearing tonight, I will be able to attend the District 1 community meeting on Gold Line BRT stops in the District 1 area. And the meeting will take place from 6 to 7:30 at Battle Creek Rec Center. There'll be lots of information brought forward by our Met Council and Metro Transit staff, and great discussion and opportunity to have input on the planning for those stops. The second thing that I'm happy to announce is that this Saturday, January 19th, at the Sunray Library from 2 to 4 p.m., we are having a fine-free library celebration where we're welcoming everybody back to Sunray Library that is now fine-free. So come and learn about the policy, meet Mayor Carter, enjoy entertainment from artists including the Duala Soul Collective, local poet Mei Li Yang, who's amazing, St. Paul rapper Brandon Moore, and kids' activities including story time and hands-on play, and free cookies from the cookie cart. And I was invited to have the honor of calling bingo at the event, so who knew? So anyway, come to Sunray from 2 to 4 on Saturday.
I had to write that down because it's free cookie cart cookies and you're calling bingo.
Yeah,
It's pretty
imagine.
Imagine that on Saturday. Anything else, Ms. Naker?
Thank you. Tomorrow morning from 10 a.m. until, I don't know when it ends, but I think it's a lot of the day, there is a rally at the Capitol Rotunda for Voices and Choices to remind all of our legislators about the importance of supporting bills and other efforts for early childhood care for our children throughout the state. Voices and Choices is a coalition specifically focusing on building an advocacy pipeline for children of color and American Indian children and making sure that their voices are part of the early childhood conversation. So I will be there at 10 a.m. and everyone is welcome to join me.
Great. Anything else? Okay, Mr. Tolbert's thought he did, but maybe it's next week. Maybe it'll be for next week. All right. If there's nothing else to come before us, we're adjourned. Sorry, we're adjourned. Sorry about the pressure.